I wanted to talk to you about doing in-depth product reviews because you've mentioned that you do that on your other sites. You said you do these Amazon sites, and you do that on Matthew Woodward as well. We have done quite a few of them. I really like the hosting one that you've done recently, trying to find the fastest hosting one.
Yeah, not everyone.
I've followed the drama that came with the backlink checker one this last year as well.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. We can talk about that actually. That was a nightmare.
And that's exactly what I want to talk about.
Excellent. Okay.
So we've done one on like fastest WordPress theme recently, same thing. I'm not gonna quote any names, but like very often product owners that are very involved with their product, if they're not number one, you face a lot of backslash when you don't rank them number one, etc. And so I wanted to talk about first of all, how do you build tests that feel fair to the product owners, and how do you deal with maybe the passion that they might have for your results because it might not be what they expected or something, you know?
Okay, so first building the test. The test really is dependent on what you're testing. You need to look at what there is to test and why you're testing it. In the fastest WordPress hosting, one of the negative piece of feedback the Cloudways team sent me was that, hey, you just used our $10 DigitalOcean like cheap droplet. Why didn't you build it on the Google optimized thing, which would have put them on the same infrastructure as Kinsta? They were saying that would have provided a fairer test. The reason I didn't do that was because if you look at any WordPress hosting group, blogging group, forum, or anything else, one of the most strongly recommended services is that. It's one of the strongly most that. It's overwhelming how many people recommend that setup with Cloudways as the fastest solution. It's faster than anyone. So that's why it was tested. So you got to look at things, really through a microscope and decide what you're testing, how you're testing it. It's very easy to put your foot wrong. I do put my foot wrong. I'm probably always going to put my foot wrong because, that's how it is. Well, you can never please everyone. You can't. You just can't. It's impossible. So fastest WordPress hosting, of course, was a test that was built on. I did it last year, and all of that was really, a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, there was a big drama with WP Engine.
Yep.
And I had lots of problems with them, and actually since then they're always talking shit at conferences. They keep inviting my friends to private dinners, and like 5 years on, they're still talking about it. I'm like, and then they didn't perform well in the 2008 test. Then in 2019, they announced, oh, we're now 40% faster than everyone else. We've got this new Google C2 platform. We're better than everyone. And they made it sound like it was available to everyone. But when you tried to buy it, it was like really hard to buy and like $600 a month. And I can't tell you the amount of hoops I had to jump through to get to that point, like sales calls and like the really like protective over it. At the same time, Kinsta just announced, hey, we're just going to give everyone that for free, starting for $29 a month now. It's global. In fact, we've already rolled it all out to all of our customer base.
I didn't even know. WP Engine on Kinsta, but I didn't know actually. Great.
Yeah, exactly right. And WP Engine celebrated it like they were leaders of some kind of brand new technology and this, that, and we're 40% faster than anyone else in WordPress. They said. You should make that kind of claims, I'm like, oh really? Well, I ran a WordPress test last year. Let's run it again this year and let's see what happens. They actually haven't been in touch with me on that post. Last year they caught my testing sites before I did the testing and sent me an email, and I didn't reply until after the testing was done, and I sent them the results. And they didn't reply.
So how do you deal with that? And have you ever gotten close to like legal trouble or something like that? Because it does happen. I mean, there's a lot of stories in like the mattress industry, for example, with like the guy that literally lost his site to like the Casper mattress company. I don't know if you know about that story.
Yeah, but the mattresses are often, it's an objective opinion, right?
Yeah.
I'm not publishing an opinion. I'm publishing data from testing, and not only that, here are the test sites. So if you don't believe my data, here's the URLs. Go run that yourself. That's costing thousands of dollars a month to leave running. and I'll leave it running.
Yeah.
It probably actually means that post will end up net zero in profitability.
So how far did someone come to like trying to like threaten you for changing the results, or like not being very happy with that? Like how far does that go in terms of tension with people who disagree with results? Because we face some of that backslash, but I think you face more actually.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk. There's a couple of best backlink checkers. The history of that was Ahrefs versus Majestic, right?
Yeah.
And actually, before that, I'd done a case study of 5 tools. I think it was Majestic, Mars, SEO Spyglass, and like 5 tools and 3 sites, around 3 sites for each of the 5 tools to see which was the best backlink checker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mars came second. Majestic came second. Ahrefs was first, and SEO Power Suite came last. Dixon Jones from Majestic absolutely lost his nut and made it personal and started throwing around all these insults and everything else. And not just on Majestic, but through a few other publicly known figures, they started a little bit of a slander case against me for those results. And then they published their own case study, which showed Majestic winning and all the rest of it. So I was like, well, you've put me in a really difficult position now, because this was the data. It wasn't my opinion. And he was saying I was biased and everything else, but what he hadn't taken into account was SEO Power Suite the month before had literally given me $5,000 worth of product to give away. It was really awkward, and I published the results of that case study, and they were last. Yeah. You know, they're like a pot, but the data's a data. Like, it's not my opinion, and I sent him an email saying, look, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Like, and they accepted that. It's fine. Don't worry. You know, that's just how it is.
We'll actually nice. SEO Power Suite.
Yeah. Really nice.
Really nice.
To speak with. So, you know, they had that approach despite it tarnishing our business relationship, but Majestic had a different way of dealing with it. So that put me in a position where I was like, well, you've pushed me into a corner here. You're attacking me you personally as well. Not like I just published data. I didn't say, oh, Majestic's a piece of shit. You know, this was the data, and he came second, and it was a close second. It wasn't even like
not bad, yeah.
like you know. So I was like, well, okay, I got to defend myself here. How can I do that? I was like, well, I bet I can design a test to do that. So I was like, right. You saying I'm biased? Let's make it as unbiased as possible. I'm going to use Majestic's data set and Majestic's testing methodology against Ahrefs. That way, you can't call me out on this is because it's what you said. I'm using your own testing, your own data to test you against the competitors. No, I'm not leaving any wiggle room this time, because when I originally wrote the first post, I wasn't intending to cause a commotion, but then I'm like, right, let's run the data. You're saying that this is wrong, that's corrupt. Let's run the data and see what happens. It turned out that when we ran the data, Ahrefs spanked them left, right, and center when we did the million domain test. So that didn't get a good reception from Majestic.
How do you deal with it? Like, how do you, like, is there a way, a method to deal with like unhappy product owners when you give a bad review?
I'm just honest with people, you know. I'm just straight. I think as we spoke today, you see, I'm like, it is what it is. Like, if your product didn't perform, it's because you've got some work to do. It's not like, it's not my fault. In fact, I've helped you. I've given you a benchmark in your business that you didn't have previously, that now allows you to see, okay, well, why weren't we performing in that area? Maybe you didn't know that was a problem before. You know, I'm very open with how I discuss things, and people are not. But if you're going to attack me personally, then okay, well,
we get that.
If you put me in a position I've got to defend myself, I'm going to defend myself, but I'm going to do it with data.
So I come from the point of view that if people want to still do affiliate reviews, they're going to have to kind of like adopt that style in the future to get the people behind them and the engagement behind reviews, which like blend reviews don't get. You've got a lot of engagement.
There is. I'm not going to tell you the company, but there is a piece of content on my blog right now that I've been offered $50,000 to delete.